Hi folks, in this video I will share our first mountain hike of 2023 summer. On June 1, 2023, we hiked part of the trail to Summit Peak in Mountain Provincial Park, British Columbia. The area is located about 400 kilometers or 250 miles northwest of Dawson Creek, British Columbia. So we're here at Summit Lake. This is in Mountain Provincial Park, and we're going to stay tonight. It's a bit chilly. I don't know exactly what the temperature is, but the wind is very cold. And the mountain that we're going to try to climb up to, at least to get into the Alpine, is the one that's right in front of us. I doubt we'll get to the very top because our legs are still flatland lakes. We haven't got alpine legs yet, but we'll start up and see how far we get. It's a beautiful day. We hiked Summit Peak because it is a beautiful area located near the highest point along the Alaska Highway at almost 1,300 meters or 4,265 feet. The campground straddles the alpine and subalpine zones. Also, the mountains are made of limestone, and I wanted to see if there were special calcicolous plants which tolerate and thrive on the limestone-rich or limey-rich limestone rocks. The campground has 28 gravel sites. There are no water and no electrical services, and there's a very interesting pit toilet. So this is one of the outhouses, pit toilet, in the mountains at Summit Lake campsite. Get a sense, everything's elevated here in the Alpine, even the outhouses. Because this was our first mountain hike of the 2023 season, we were careful not to overextend ourselves, and our goal was modest, just to get above the tree line. So these are the first of our wildflowers. I'll have to get my head out of the way here. This is an anemone. Some death camas not in bloom beside them. And that's where we're headed. Lots of Lapland rosebay out as well. And I'll give you the correct name at a later date. But just coming into bloom. Lovely. It's crossing a creek. Fortunately, there's very little water left in it. This would spring breakup. Snow melt. This would be a roaring place to be. We're up on a ridge here, not that far above the highway. Pretty flat, and we've got our first lupin. And a species of dwarf birch. Just a carpet of what appears to be lingonberry. I sometimes struggle to distinguish them from bearberry, but the lingonberry leaves are a little fatter to my eye, and many of them still have red berries from last season. And I see some bearberry growing with it just in here. It's in flower. And there's a juniper. All along this relatively flat section. So there's the trail ahead. Little waterfall that would have been a waterfall that was. And no, we're not climbing that one, that limestone head of us. We're going to go through this forested area and turn to the right. And along the track we see scat. I'm assuming this is sheep, but I don't know for sure. Maybe we'll see one and that will prove what it is. There are sections of the trail that are flat and easy, and there are sections of the trail that are a little steeper, but it's still very easy walking. So in places the trail wanders through the forest, conifers. And our goal was to get above the tree line. Lots of buffalo berry, I think it's called. Good bear food when it's in fruit. Here, a red squirrel and complaining about our presence. And here there's lots of bearberry in flower. And if we're comparing it with the I've forgotten what we're comparing it with, but the lingonberry, that's right. The bearberry is flat. Doesn't look fleshy. Elongate leaves. We're getting close to the tree line here, and this was the river / waterfall beside the trail. Lots of limestone boulders, but it's quite neat because it just opens up. The trees are becoming more sparse. And it's quiet, meaning we don't hear the trucks or the traffic or the sounds of humans other than ourselves. So we're just coming out above the tree line here. The world opens up. So we'll just do a little walk. Oh, there's a little yellow bladder pod. Hang on. Anyway, we'll show you. There we are. We're into the alpine. And there's lots of mountain aven. I see lupin. And under my foot almost is the yellow bladder pod. And we're going to head up there someplace. But it's pretty abrupt. So let's have a look at that bladder pod. Well, we're here in the alpine, and the floor of the alpine is covered by dwarf birch, which we see here, and lots of Lapland rosebay. Some of it's just coming in bloom. Some mountain aven. Some lupin. Some lupin. Amongst bearberry and Lapland rosebay and mountain aven. And there's a little bit of and there's a yellow lousewort that's quite spectacular that I don't think I've ever seen before. Which is quite delightful. and some shrubby cinquefoil. Right here, not in bloom yet. So it's pretty amazing just above the tree line. You get a completely different feel, quiet, windy. Ridge of limestone going up the valley. Still snow in those mountains. A lovely cluster of yellow mountain aven. Enjoying the afternoon sun. It's kind of neat because their flowers are, the arrangement of petals are parabolic, so they actually follow the sun. Rotate as the sun moves across the sky. Keep their reproductive parts warm and cozy for pollinating insects. So I read. I've come across some yellow cinquefoil up here. And sadly, my ability to identify cinquefoil is pretty bad. But there it is, in a lovely alpine setting. Above the tree line at least. The moss campion is doing really well, along with the mountain aven and the Lapland rosebay and the cinquefoil has appeared with the dwarf birch. Hard to argue it's not lovely. Just climbing higher above the tree line through the limestone here. The trail kind of snakes around. So we're sort of reaching as far as we're going to go, which is the first lookout, and a little barrier in front of us, so probably dangerous to go that way, and a little arrow here made out of rock saying go this way. Interesting thing about the wind in the alpine, if you find yourself out of breath, you find a rock to stand on. It's in the wind. And you open your mouth and you let the wind blow into your lungs. And it's kind of like a supercharger on one of those muscle cars. Forces all that extra oxygen into your lungs. Now some of you may not agree with that or think I'm pulling your leg, and you'll just have to try it one day. Am I actually pulling your leg? So this is as far as we are going to hike today. We got above the tree line, we got into the limestone mountains, saw some calcicolous plants, and this is just a look down at Stone Lake. I should just back up a little bit. There's the campground. Very windy today, chilly, but it's just a lovely landscape. If you were really enthusiastic, you can continue your hike and there's there's a ridge walk that you can take that's right in front of us. And that brings you to the top of, I think it's Summit Peak, Summit Mountain. I'll confirm that and put it in the video. Pretty barren up here. There are a few wildflowers. I was really hoping again to see purple saxifrage. I saw 2 plants that had bloomed already. So sadly we're a little bit late this year for the purple saxifrage. So before we started our hike down, we took one last look at the landscape around the Summit Lake area. As we started down, we were always careful not to overextend ourselves, especially since this was our first mountain hike of the 2023 season. There was only one spot that was a little tricky. Given that I'm not a big fan of heights, I am glad this steep leg did not last very long. We made it back safe and sound to our campsite on the edge of the lake in time for tea while we enjoyed the scenic view of Summit Lake. If you enjoyed this video or learned something new, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Those simple actions tell YouTube there is some value in this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.